Hello, mighty companions. This is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to a course in miracles. And I know there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world right now. I've talked to a lot of people that really kind of freaking out and giving themselves a lot of conflict about all of the different changes that are going on right now. And frankly, they have some fear and some conflict, sometimes some anger. And today, we're going to see what the Course in Miracles says about how we should deal with any level of fear or anger or conflict in any area of your life that you are experiencing right now. So if you would like to know how to deal with all of the different conflicts that's happening in the world, as well as the different things that's happening in your personal life that may be causing you some conflict, well, we're going to be talking about that today. So the first thing I want to ask you to do is to close your eyes and take a breath. I want you to close your eyes, if you can, and take a breath. And I'd like to say to you, I am here only to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent God, love that sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do, because Spirit, God, love, who sent me, will direct me. I am content to be wherever God, love, the Creator, wishes. Knowing that God, love, the Creator, goes there with me. I'm content to be wherever God wishes, because I know God is there with me. You are content to be wherever you know your Creator wishes, because you know your Creator goes with you. I will be healed as I let God, the Creator, Spirit, teach me to heal. You will be healed as you let the Creator teach you to heal. This is a Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles is a required course. Only the time you take the Course in Miracles is voluntary. Do you know that only the time you take a Course in Miracles is voluntary? That means free will doesn't mean, do you know that free will, having free will, doesn't mean that you can establish the curriculum? When you hear the term free will, that you have free will, A Course in Miracles says that it means only that you can elect what you want to take at any given time. There's a curriculum for happiness. There are rules of happiness. There are rules for peace. If you want to have peace and happiness and prosperity and abundance and health and healing, there are certain universal laws. There are certain rules that you have to learn and practice. So free will just means you can decide to learn as much as you want to learn whenever you want to learn it. But the Course in Miracles teaches that you do have to obey certain attitudes, certain rules, if you're going to have unconditional love and total peace and total happiness in your life. And you can't make those rules up. You don't make up the universal laws of God. You don't make up the rules of happiness. You don't make up the rules of love. But where you have free will is that it's up to you to decide when you want to learn these rules and how much of these rules and how much of the curriculum do you want to learn. Do you know that the Course in Miracles is not trying to teach you the meaning of love? The Course in Miracles is not trying to teach you the meaning of love, because the meaning of love is beyond what can be taught. So what does the Course in Miracles aim to do? The Course in Miracles does aim, however, at removing the blocks. So what is it that the Course in Miracles is trying to do? It's trying to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. The Course in Miracles is trying to teach you how to remove the blocks to love, to peace. Do you know that your natural inheritance is love? Your natural inheritance is love. Your natural inheritance is peace. So the Course in Miracles is teaching you how to remove the blocks to having total peace and love. The Course in Miracles is trying to teach a person how to remove the blocks to total peace and total love, which is your natural inheritance. So what is the opposite of love? The opposite of love is fear. The opposite of love is guilt. The opposite of love is anger. The opposite of love is sickness. The opposite of love is lack. The opposite of love is fear. But what is all-encompassing? That's what love is. Love is all-encompassing. So what is all-encompassing, love can have no opposite. So the Course in Miracles could be summed up simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. If you have something that is real, anything that's real cannot be threatened. Anything that is real cannot be threatened. Anything that is real cannot be threatened. And nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God, which is the peace of love. If it's real, nothing can threaten it. If it's unreal, it doesn't really exist. And if it's unreal, it's going to be temporary. And if it's unreal, it's not going to be permanent. And if it's unreal, it's not going to last. So we're going to be on lesson 34 in the Course in Miracles workbook, in the blue book. We're going to be on lesson 34. And lesson 34 is I could see peace instead of this. And I have books up here, and I guarantee you, with the Course in Miracles, it's really easy to zone out. So these classes are especially for Course in Miracles students and people who study the Course in Miracles. If anybody I'm welcoming anyone to watch my classes, but after 45 years of studying and teaching the Course, I want to be especially helpful to people who are actually studying the Course in Miracles and see it as a path that has value to them. I can be really helpful to you. And one of the things that the Course in Miracles says, thank you for showing up. Thank you online for showing up. Thank you, those of you who are here with me. I appreciate that. We are on lesson 34. I could see peace instead of this. That's lesson 34. Let me get those of you up online so I can make sure that I'm able to monitor and respond to you and see you. Okay. All right. Okay. Rule number one with the Course in Miracles is for you to remember that you need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas, you may actively resist some of the ideas in the Course in Miracles. You may actively resist some of the ideas in the Course in Miracles and some of the ideas that you will find hard to believe. Others may seem to be quite startling. You are not asked to judge the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. So this section starts out with, I could see peace. I could see peace instead of this. So the first thing I would like to ask you to do is I would like for you to think of something that's happening in your life right now that you are not giving yourself peace about. Something in your life right now that gives you a bit of conflict, that disturbs you. I've had a lot of people get in touch with me since the election. Many people, some people are feeling very happy about it. Some people are feeling a lot of fear and a lot of conflict about it, which actually proves one of the things that the Course in Miracles teaches, which is that everything in the world is neutral, which means that we're the one that's giving everything the meaning that it has to us. That's why you can take the exact same situation or circumstance, and some people feel good about it and some people feel bad about it, because it's not the situation that's causing the way people feel. What's causing the way they feel is the way they're interpreting the situation. So I want you to think of something. The funny thing about people tend to worry about stuff or have stuff that they're upset about until you tell them to think about it. And then the temptation, when I say think about something that you're upset about, the temptation will be to not be able to think of anything. But the truth is, I just ask people, what was it that you were thinking about before you showed up for the class? What was it that you were thinking about before you started to hear what I'm saying right now? What was it that you woke up this morning that you wish were different? And if it was different, you would feel happy, or you would feel better. So what we want to do then is tell ourselves, I could see peace instead of this. So the idea for today begins to describe the conditions that prevail in the other way of seeing. So there's the way that the person sees things when they're upset, but the idea for today, I could see peace, describes the conditions that will prevail when you see the way that the Course is teaching you to see, when you see the way that the Holy Spirit is teaching you to see, when you see the way that God is teaching you to see, then you would see peace. And the Course defines peace as total fulfillment. So when I'm seeing things correctly, does that mean when I'm seeing things correctly that then I have peace? And if I'm not seeing things correctly, then I have what? Anger, guilt, grievances, conflict, fear, sickness. So if there seems to be a lot of fear and conflict in what you're perceiving, and if it looks like there are a lot of people in the world right now that are going through a lot of fear and conflict, then from a Course in Miracles perspective, all that would mean is that there are a whole lot of people who are not seeing things the way that the Course in Miracles or that love or peace is teaching us to see things. So it can be millions of people who see things incorrectly. There can be millions of people who are wrong-minded in the way that they see things. And so the Course is telling us that in the other way of seeing, other than the way that we've learned to see things through the world, then what is the condition that we would feel? We would feel peace. So peace of mind is clearly an internal matter. What? Peace of mind is clearly an internal matter. So if you're going to have peace in the situation that you have conflict about, let's say something is going on at work and you're upset with somebody about something, or you're in a relationship and you're upset about something, or there's something in your life right now that you know you're making yourself upset about, the wrong mind, the ego, is going to make the mistake of telling you that you need to spend all your time trying to figure out how you can get that external situation or that outside circumstance changed. So you're going to be using your mind trying to come up with how you can make the peace happen externally. So if I think I'm upset with you, my mind is going to be coming up with ways I think I can get you to change so that I'm not upset anymore. If I have a broken appliance that I bought, then my ego is going to tell me when I can get customer service to do what I want them to do, then I'm going to have peace. So the course is saying, first of all, anybody that believes that they're going to have any level of peace on a regular basis, who believes that they've got to change everything and everybody outside of themselves in some kind of way in order for them to have peace, will never have real peace for any length of time. I've heard that thousands of times in the last 45 years. But you know what? I'm in a world where people don't say that. I'm in a world that I very seldom hear anybody when they're upset say, I'm making myself upset and I could see peace instead of this, and I want another way to look at this, and I need to change my perception of what's going on. I don't know about you, but I almost never hear anyone ever say that when they're upset. And even if I do, it's nothing compared to how many people don't say that they need to look at it another way in order for them to be happy. Is anybody else in here? Okay. So the course is trying to tell us the real way to have peace. But since it's not the way we're programmed to believe that we're going to get peace, because we've been programmed to believe that if we can talk to the other person, I like to use relationships, that's the easiest way for me, that somehow or another, if I can talk this person into being the way that I need them to be so that I feel okay, this is the way I should go. So when Spirit tells me that peace of mind is clearly an internal matter, that doesn't really resonate with me. When I used to want to get help on any issue, what I wanted the person who was going to help me to do is help me be better at changing the other person or the thing outside of myself that I need to be different for me to be happy. So going to an advisor was me going to somebody who was going to help me, help me be better at changing somebody else. So if you don't tell me how I can change the outer, then it's hard to keep my attention because I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. The government is the problem. The president is the problem. My mama was the problem. My daddy was the problem. My mate is the problem. My boss is the problem. So I want you to tell me how I can better navigate changing everybody and everything outside myself in order to be happy. So what I need to remember is peace of mind is what? An internal matter. Okay. The Course in Miracles says, do it slowly. Do me slowly. So glad to see those of you online, and I see your comments, and I am glad that you are here with me. And now, okay, so let's take it slow. I can see peace instead of this. The idea for today, lesson 34 on page 51 in the workbook, it says, it begins to describe the conditions that prevail in the other way of seeing. Peace of mind is clearly an internal matter. So in this situation that I'm dealing with right now with this person, and I want peace with this person, the first thing that I need to understand is the peace that I want to have with this person is going to have to begin with my own thoughts. If I'm going to have peace with my mama, it's got to begin with my own thoughts. If I'm going to have peace about what's happening At the political level, it's going to begin with my own thoughts. If I'm going to have peace about what's happening at a financial level, it's going to begin with my own thoughts. If I want to have peace in terms of my relationships, it's going to have to begin with my own thoughts. Peace begins with your thoughts. Peace begins with my thoughts. Peace begins with your thoughts. And then he says, so when you start with your thoughts of peace, then the next thing that Course in Miracles says is then that peace then extends outward. So the peace that I want has to extend outward from me, starting with my own thoughts. So if you want to have a peaceful perception of the world, what does a person do if they want to have a peaceful perception of their partner? What does a person do that wants a peaceful perception of their coworker? What is it that a person does that wants a peaceful perception of the world? It comes from your peace of mind. So everything is going to come from my peace of mind. In other words, I cannot be a hell raiser. I cannot be someone getting angry and going off on people and will see a peaceful perception of the world or peace. I'm not going to go off on my partner and think I'm going to have a peaceful perception of my partner. I'm not going to be judging, criticizing, condemning, and attacking my friend and then think I'm going to have a peaceful perception of my friend. So the ego, our crazy mind, teaches us that just the opposite, that the more you attack people, the more you're going to get them to do what you want them to do. We have the ego mind, the wrong mind, believes anger makes friends. So the way that I get you to do what I want you to do is to cuss you out, to show you how angry I am at you, to go off on you. And the Course in Miracles is saying, no. It's from your peace of mind that a peaceful perception of the world arises. So then the mind goes, well, what do I do? Well, the first thing you do when you're upset, the first thing you do when you're angry, the first thing you do when you're tempted to attack, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do when you're mad? What do you do when you're tempted to attack? The first thing you do is you tell yourself, I could see peace in this situation instead of what I'm seeing right now. I could see peace instead of what I'm seeing right now. I could feel peace. And I have to let myself know there is an alternative to the way that I'm feeling right now. I've got to tell myself, I'm mad as hell right now, but I could see peace instead of this anger that I'm having right now. I feel totally depressed, but I could feel peaceful instead of this. That option is still available to me. That option of feeling happy is still available to me, but I need to tell myself I have that option. I could see peace instead of this. Many times in teaching and working with people with the Course, the ego, which is the part of the person that doesn't want them to learn a new way of looking at things, what it does is it will try to convince the person that they need to believe this before they can say it. That you have to believe or be excited about what the Course is saying before you can actually do what it's saying. But I could be in a horrible mood, but that would be part of my lesson. In other words, I could see peace instead of being bored as hell. I could see peace instead of being sad right now. I could see peace instead of feeling lonely right now. I have to just simply introduce the idea that peace is an alternative that I could experience right now. Why do you need to do that? He says, well, the reason why you need to do that is everything comes from your thought. So you have to have your own thought of peace, and then your thought of peace begins to extend outward. And then from your peaceful mind, you will actually find yourself starting to have a peaceful perception of the world or a peaceful perception of that person. what I love about doing the Course in Miracles with other people is that it gives me a chance to remember that together, for us to focus on that together. And like I said, I'm looking at you online as well as in here. So then the Course says, 3 longer practice periods are required for today's exercises. Do this 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. Okay, so here I am. I'm upset about something, and I really want to get out of that upset. The Course is saying, okay, I'm going to give you what you need to do if you want to get out of that upset. The first thing that you need to do is to give yourself a practice period in the morning, and then give yourself a practice period in the evening, and then give yourself a practice period at any time in between morning and evening that seems conducive to your readiness. I'll say that again. In order for me to get to the point that I start to see peace instead of the upset that I'm going through, I need to give myself a practice period in the morning, a practice period in the evening, and if there's any time in between that I feel like I can do it, I need to do it then. One of the things I want to focus on in this new year is the practical application of the ideas of the Course. But I've taught this for 45 years, so I also know nothing runs people away from a class faster than when you are telling them that they need to do something. Okay, you want to clear a room real quick. Tell people something that they need to do. Now, there are people who will endlessly fill up a room to debate the Course, analyze the Course, philosophize about the Course, and everybody give their interpretation of the Course. You can have a full house. But when you say, don't know how to break this to you, but if you want to get to the point that you can have a peaceful perception and get past the conflict that you're having right now, you're going to have to do some practicing. And so that means in the morning and in the evening and any time in between, there's something that I want you to do if you really want to get over this conflict that you're going through. And it says all applications should be done with your eyes closed. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go off on you. I'm upset, right? So I'm going to do this. Take a breath and go, you know what? I could see peace instead of what I'm feeling right now. I could see peace instead of this. I could see peace instead of this. I could see peace instead of this. I just saw my partner holding hands with somebody that I'd never seen before. I could see peace instead of this. I could feel peace instead of this. Oh my God. They just, a bank account, somehow or another they made a mistake and they took a bunch of money out of my bank account that they were not supposed to. I could see peace instead of this. I could see peace instead of this. See, I'm taking a minute to pause, to close my eyes, to tell myself I could see this in another way other than the way that I'm seeing it right now. I need to tell myself there's another way of looking at this. This is practical application of the ideas. The people go, well, when do I apply this? Whenever you're feeling something other than peace. Well, then this would have me applying this most of the day. Yeah, you would be saying this a heck of a lot of times all day long. So you could use everything that upsets you to remind you that you could have peace. And since it's an idea, and he's already told us, peace is an internal matter that begins with your own thoughts, then what you're doing all day is you are building up the thought of peace. You're giving power to the thought of peace. Now, any metaphysical New Thought person knows what is the fundamental principle that New Thought teaches, that your thought is created, that your thoughts determine what you see, and that your thoughts determine your experience. That is basic across the board. I don't care what metaphysical teachings that you study or New Thought teachings, even if it's not the Course in Miracles, that's the one thing that I find that all of them have in common. They all tell you it's through the way you visualize, the way you think, the way you feel, that's what you're going to create, that's what you're going to manifest. Anybody heard that? Almost all of them teach that. That's why you have the vision boards and all these different things, because that's just another way of you saying you think you can think something and that thing would manifest, or that you would perceive it. But it's funny how we'll get really excited about manifesting a car and forget that if we think our thoughts could manifest a car, then why would it be so crazy to think your thoughts could manifest some peace? your thoughts could manifest your freedom. So I'm going to be full of hate, anger, and resentment and think that I'm going to manifest peace, love, and joy. So that's how your ego fools you. Your ego tells you you can direct your anger outside of yourself and your upset outside of yourself, and then you're going to make yourself safe, which makes you forget the fact that your outer perception is going to come from what? Your own thoughts. So you're continuing to think that the way that you're going to be happy in the world is to manipulate other people is going to always fail, because if I'm a manipulator, I will manifest and attract manipulators. If I'm a person that's full of anger thoughts, selfish thoughts, fearful thoughts, then I'm going to manifest, I'm going to perceive that in my physical world. So the easiest way to have prosperity, love, peace, fun, and freedom is to realize it's an internal matter. It's going to begin with your own thoughts, and then it's going to extend outward, because it's from a peaceful state of mind that you have a peaceful perception of the world. So do I need to hear that a lot? Yeah, because nobody's saying it. Pretty much no one's saying. I mean, a few people. But in general, I never looked at the network news and then somebody, they're interviewing somebody that just lost a house or whatever, and that person says, I can see peace instead of this right now. And my peace about this is going to come from a change in my thoughts right now. And I'm going to give that over to spirit. I have never heard that on the air yet. Interview? No. So you got to realize when you're watching television and you're listening to the news, and in most cases when you're listening to your friends, your relatives, your coworkers, they are lying to you. Not because they mean to lie to you. They're just telling you what they have learned and what they've been conditioned to believe, which is what? That they are a victim of the world they see. So one of the things, if you want to wake up from conflict and fear and pain, then if a person is talking to you and they're talking from the perspective of not having power that comes from them changing their own mind, then that person is reinforcing the wrong perception, and then you'll continue to go through the pain and conflict because you also believe that you're a victim of what's going on. One of the things we just finished going through in the last few weeks was the responsibility for sight. And if you recall, what was it that we were told that we needed to tell ourselves if we really wanted to have all our pain alleviated? It said, this is funny, it said that you should say to yourself, I am responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience, and I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. So the Course in Miracles says, if you say this, this is all you need to say for vision and release from pain and happiness and joy. That if you were to say this, if you were to consistently say this, then it would alleviate your pain. It would alleviate your sadness. So now, then you ask yourself, like, how many times have I said that? How often have I said that? Then I go, well, actually I haven't said that a whole lot. Now, I was just told if I would say this, everything that's causing me pain would be alleviated, but I haven't remembered to say it twice in the last week. You know why? So then the boy said, yeah, I'll tell you why. What? You don't believe it. You don't believe it. If you believe that simply saying that on a consistent basis would give you the peaceful perception of the world that is promising, then I would do it. So there only would be two reasons why I wouldn't do it. Number one, I don't believe it, so I don't practice it, or I don't think I deserve the happiness and the peace and the joy that it tells me I would have if I said it. So one of the challenges as a teacher is that the Course says in most cases, you are teaching people who don't think they're worth the effort to change their own mind because they still have so much subconscious guilt, fear, and insecurity, and a feeling of unworthiness. And then when people have feelings of unworthiness and they don't love themselves at the level that they should, then they do not do the things that would give them a wonderful life because they have a core belief that they don't deserve a wonderful life because they haven't been taught that they are truly valuable. So the biggest challenge when you're teaching the truth is that most people who are wanting to get the truth are needing to let go of any subconscious guilts and fears and insecurities that would keep them from letting themselves receive it. Because the premise of the Course is that our Creator wants to give us everything that makes for perfect happiness. God, according to the Course, is not demanding that we work for happiness. God is not demanding that you fulfill everybody's scripts around you and then at that point you deserve to have joy. The Course is teaching us that happiness is God's will for us, that our Creator wants us to be happy, and that anybody that loves you would also be someone that wanted you to be happy. So someone that really loves you would not be asking you to do things that you really don't want to do, because someone who loves you would want you to be happy. They would want you to be joyful. So let go of the idea that you have to earn happiness. What we are trying to do is get rid of the blocks that keep us from experiencing the joy and the happiness that's already in us. See, like for instance, that goes back to that sentence again, right? Peace of mind is what? An internal matter. It begins with what? Your thoughts. Then from your thoughts, what does it do? It extends outward. Then from peace of mind comes a peaceful perception of the world. Now, okay, then he goes, 3 longer practice periods are required for today's exercises, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, and an additional 1 to be undertaken at any time in between that seems most conducive to readiness. All applications should be done with what? Your eyes closed. That's why a lot of times I suggest that people read the book, have the book in front of them, because when you don't, you're going to go to sleep. You're going to go unconscious. And that's because the Course says that what's great about words is that words help you concentrate. And the Course in Miracles, anybody who studies it knows that it's real easy to go unconscious when you're hearing the Course in Miracles. So then you have to be what? Proactive on doing what would help you stay focused. And what will help you stay focused is the book and the material itself. It's very rare that a person can stay conscious when they really start hearing the Course unless they're very proactive about it. So the Course is saying it is your what world? Your inner world. Your inner world to which the applications of today's idea, what's today's idea?
I can see peace.
Thank you. I can see peace instead of this. Okay, so when you're going through the Course in Miracles and you're going through the workbook lessons, whenever he says stuff like the application of today's idea, make it a habit of saying what today's idea is. Like when it says it is your inner world to which the application of today's idea should be made. What you would say is, okay, it is my inner world to which the application of today's idea, I could see peace instead of this, should be made. Now, do you know the Course in Miracles is about to ask a ridiculous request, but we're going to do it, okay? What's the ridiculous request? Some 5 minutes of mind searching. What? 5 minutes. What? You mean the exercise you wanted me to apply in the morning, you asking me to do that 5 minutes in the morning, and then you're asking me to apply this idea 5 minutes in the evening, and then you're asking me to apply this idea if some time happened in the day that I might have 5 minutes, that I should say this to myself. And if I say this, it will plant the idea in my mind of having peace. And then that peace will start to extend, and then I will start to have a peaceful perception of everything that I'm seeing around me. And you're asking me to spend 5 minutes to do that, and I don't. But do you spend more than 5 minutes bitching and moaning? Do you spend more than 5 minutes complaining during the day? Do you spend more than 5 minutes thinking of some grievance? Do you spend more than 5 minutes worrying? Of course we do, right? So why is it easier for us to focus on the negative than it is for us to focus on the positive? It's because it's what we're being constantly conditioned, programmed, and listening to, and reinforcing back and forth with other people who are just like us, who also believe they're the victim of their experience. And if everybody outside of them were different and changed, they'd be happy. Then we get together and we compare with each other the stuff that we wish other people would do differently. And we call that what? Conversation. It goes by the code name, I'm having a conversation with you, but it's usually me and you reinforcing all the wrong thinking together. So the Course says some 5 minutes of mind searching are required for each of the longer practice. That's funny. He calls the 5 minutes the longer practice period. Notice it says some 5 minutes of mind searching are required for each of the longer. That's a longer practice period. So what is it that you should do? What is it that you should do if you want to get rid of the unhappiness or the concern or the fear or the upset that you're going through about something right now?
Search your mind.
That's the humor of the Course, right? You see the humor of it. I want you, I know it's going to be hard, but I want you to search your mind. I know you guys will search hard to find it, right? I want you to search your mind for thoughts of fear. I want you to search your mind. I know it's going to be hard, but I want you to search your mind for anxiety-provoking situations. This is a really great one. I want you to search your mind for offending personalities or events or anything else about which you are harboring unloving thoughts. Now, does it sound like the Course in Miracles is asking you to do a spiritual bypass? No. Does it sound like the Course in Miracles is asking you not to think about your anxious thoughts, your fearful thoughts, offending people, I don't know who. Sometimes I wonder if people are reading the same friggin' book that I'm reading, because I see so many Course in Miracles students act like the Course is asking them to bypass stuff and not be honest about your fear or your anger or your upset, or that being spiritual means you don't have any fear thoughts or anxiety-provoking situations or offending. The Course is saying, I want you to think of that. I want you to search your mind for thoughts that upset you, for anxiety-provoking situations, for offending personalities and offending events, or anything else that you're harboring unloving thoughts about. But what do I want you to do? Okay, I hate my mama, and what should I do? I should note that thought casually. Oh, I hate my boss. Oh, I'm totally mad at my kid right now. Oh, I hate this city. Oh, I hate where I live. Oh, I hate what I'm seeing in the news. Oh, I'm upset about it. Casually. Yeah, oh, okay, so right now, I wish I could run over a few people because I'm so upset with the way people do stuff. The Course says, casually note what you're upset about and the personalities and the people and the situations. And then it says, then as I'm watching how I'm upset with my mama right now, I should say to myself, I could see peace instead of this grievance that I'm having with my mom right now. I could see peace instead of the conflict I'm having about my financial situation right now. I could see peace instead of this worry I have about this condition that's going on in my body right now. So don't pretend you don't feel that fear. Don't pretend you don't feel that anger. The Course is saying, actually, I want you to bring it up. Look at it. So if you're a person that complains and you're full of grievances and you're full of upset all day long, you are doing part 1 of your workbook lesson. You're actually doing what the workbook lesson is asking you to do. It's right here on the page. Search your mind for fear thoughts, anxiety-provoking situations, offending personalities or events, or anything else about which you are harboring unloving thoughts. Note them casually, repeating the idea, I could see peace instead of this desire to wring this grocery clerk's neck right now. And then watch those thoughts arise in your mind. Say, I could see peace instead of this, or you could say, I could feel peace instead of this. And then what do? You let that thought go. And here's what's another funny part. To be replaced. So I got a negative thought about my mama. I'm going to say, I could see peace instead of this negative thought I'm having toward my mama. But guess what? Right behind that, I'm worried about my transmission in my car. Right? And so he says, okay, then go, I could see peace instead of the concern I have about my transmission in my car. In other words, don't let your ego give you that crap about, oh, you're just making the illusion real. You've already made the illusion real. That's why you're upset. You've already made it real. So don't worry about making it real. You're upset because you made it real. The Course is just saying, okay, you've made it real. This is what I want you to say. Why? Because peace is an internal matter. It begins with your own thoughts, and then it extends outward. So you got to introduce the thought of peace to the situations that are coming up by not being in denial. Because when you're not in denial, then you don't have to meet that thing in your physical world to show you that you're in denial about it. Okay? If I admit I don't like some people, then those people don't have to show up in my life to show me that I don't like them. There's some people I like, there's some people I don't like. And the only reason why I don't like them is they're not doing what I want them to do. They're not acting like I want them to act. That's the only reason why anybody's ever upset about anybody. They're not acting the way they want them to act. That's always the case. Always. Anger is always coming from projecting responsibility for the way you feel on somebody else's behavior. That's what all anger. I don't care if it's a national level or at a personal level. So the Course is saying, okay, well, how can I use that attitude to my advantage? Well, when I have those negative thoughts, I'm going to say, I can see peace instead of this. And then he says, if you begin to experience difficulty in thinking of specific subjects, for those of you who are so in denial, he goes, if you begin to experience, in other words, I just love everybody. There's no one I have any kind of negative feelings about, even though I'm in a world with crazy stuff happening all the time. But it don't have nothing to do with me. So I just got all loving thoughts. But I see stuff that's not loving. Well, you don't have all loving thoughts then. Because everything on the outer is a reflection of what's going on the inner. So if you begin to experience difficulty in thinking of specific subjects, what do? He says, well, continue to repeat the idea. If I can't think of anybody, then you just go, I could see peace instead of this. I could feel peace instead of this. Okay, I got here on time for my doctor's appointment, and I'm still sitting here 45 minutes later. I could feel peace instead of this. I could feel peace instead of this. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is practical application of the Course in Miracles, right? Then he goes, say this in an unhurried manner without applying it to anything in particular. Hey, you know what? I didn't wake up in the best mood this morning. Okay, so what should I do? I should say, okay, I could feel peace instead of what I'm feeling right now. I didn't wake up in the best mood this morning. I could feel peace. I could feel total fulfillment. I could feel happiness instead of this. Why? Because Peace of mind is an internal matter. It's got to begin with my own thoughts. Then it will extend outward. So I've got to say I could see peace instead of this, because that is allowing me to begin with my own thoughts. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. Right. So then the Course says that be sure, however, not to make any specific exclusions. So what does that mean? Don't think that there's anything that's happening anywhere that you couldn't say that about. Don't have any, I know you may think this is a situation that you could never have peace in. You still say it. I could see peace. They told me I had a terminal cancer diagnosis. I could feel peace instead of what I'm feeling about that. The short applications are to be frequent. What does that mean? You need to make these applications whenever you feel your peace of mind is threatened in any kind of way. Whenever you feel like your peace of mind is threatened in any kind of way. What do you say? I could see peace instead of this. So what is the purpose of this lesson? He says, well, the purpose of the lesson is to protect yourself from temptation throughout the day. What temptation? The temptation to believe in the offending personality, my temptation to believe in the thing that I feel upset about, because I'm upset. So I've got a temptation to feel upset. So he's saying to us, if a specific form of temptation arises in your awareness, the exercise should take this form. Now, this is a great one. He says, okay, I'm upset about what's going on. Think of a specific situation. Another thing, Course in Miracles students, please don't think in generalities. He says, the application is specific. So you want to take a specific situation that you may be fearful about. Okay, so if you're afraid that your car might not get through inspection, that's a specific situation. So what do you say? I could see peace in this situation instead of what I'm now seeing in this situation. I got upset with my partner. I could see peace in this situation instead of what I now see in this situation. There's something happening between us. What I should say is, I could see peace in this relationship instead of what I'm now seeing in this relationship. And if the inroads to your peace take the form of depression, what? If you're experiencing depression, if you are experiencing anxiety, if you are experiencing worry, if you are experiencing depression, if you are experiencing anxiety, if you are experiencing worry, then use the idea in its original form. What is its original form? I could see peace instead of this. Are you depressed? Listen to me. If you're depressed about something, you can see peace instead of that. Are you worrying about something? Well, if you're worried about something, you can see peace in that situation instead of what you're now seeing in that situation. If you find that you need more than one application, if you find that you need more than one application of what? I could see peace instead of this, to help you change your mind. And in a specific context, try to take several minutes and devote several minutes repeating the idea. I have a congested chest. I could feel peace instead of chest congestion. You see what I'm saying? Like the minute I had the temptation to cough, that should have triggered me to go, I could see peace instead of coughing. See, the Course is trying to teach you how to use your own ego, your own worries, your own anxieties, your own guilt, your own upset to remind you of peace. Because if you're reminded of peace, that's focusing energy on peace, that's peace you're thinking about in your mind, and you've already been told from peace in your mind comes a peaceful perception. So you're never going to see things in a peaceful way unless you start giving yourself thoughts of peace. So if you were to use every time you're upset to get you to say, what's the last thing? He says, try to take several minutes and devote them to repeating the idea until you feel what? Some sense of relief. How many times should I say, I could feel peace instead of this? Until I feel some sense of relief. But You mean I might say it 50 times before I feel better? Yes. You mean I might say it 2 times and I feel better? Yeah, say it until you feel some sense of relief. So what do you tell yourself specifically? Don't ever say the Course in Miracles is not practical. Don't ever say the Course in Miracles is not practical. Don't ever say the Course in Miracles is not practical. Because it's telling us specifically things to say about the specific things that we think we go through pretending we're human beings in this world. It did not say one thing in this lesson that we don't think we go through as human beings. He says you think you go through worry, you think you go through depression, you think that they're offended personalities, you think. So the book is not saying we don't have these feelings. What it's saying is what to do with it. It's telling us what to do with it. So that the Course in Miracles is not something we keep separate from our day-to-day life. So that we're just beings with a split mind. We talk all this spiritual stuff until we get out of the spiritual group. We just, it's like the temptation is to talk lovey-dovey in our meetings and stuff, but then the minute we shut the book and go back out in the world, we back mad again about one thing or another. So the Course is saying we got to bridge that gap. So how do you bridge that gap? You take all the ego stuff and you say, I could feel peace, or I could see peace instead of the ego. I could see peace instead of this. So what do you say? It says, say, I can replace my feelings of depression. I can replace my feelings of anxiety. I can replace my feelings of worry or my thoughts about this situation, about this personality, about this event with peace. So I say it again. It's right there. When you got specific situations that's upsetting you, what can you do? You can say, I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety, and worry, or my thoughts. Notice that. It says, or my thoughts about the situation or personality with peace. All right. I'm going to complete here now. Then I got one little thing I'm going to say at the end. You know what? You'll be shocked at what will happen if you do this. But guess what? It's through repetition, he said, that we change our minds. It's through repetition. Notice I was constantly using repetition. The other thing you want to do, I'll say it again, it's easier to concentrate if you're following along in the book. It's easier to concentrate. The Course has said, words help facilitate concentration. And when you're hearing something that's the opposite of what you have been programmed to believe, it's very easy to go unconscious because it's so opposite to the way your mind is programmed. So you have to be proactive. I can see peace instead of unconsciousness, right? So, I'm Earl Purdy. I want to thank you for tuning in. I teach on a love offering donation basis. If you'd like to make a financial expression of communication, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can use Venmo, the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle. You just need my email address. That's earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Also, I'm available for coaching and mentoring and showing you how to apply this to situations that are causing you anxiety, depression, and worry, and you're ready to get past that. So especially if you're a devoted student and you want to save some time, take advantage of my 45 years of working with this, and so that you can get the relief that you want a lot faster. I'm also available for astrological and numerological sessions and readings and clarity sessions. You can self-book a session with me online at my website, www.earlpurdy.com. That's Purdy, P-U-R-D-Y. Sundays at 1 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time in Denver, Colorado. You can attend in person if you like. It's at 1555 Race Street. 1555 Race Street, here in Denver, 80206 every Sunday. And you can watch it live on Facebook, on the Earl Purdy page on Facebook. I have over 1,000 classes on YouTube that you can watch, and probably that many even on Facebook that you could watch. I'm here to be truly helpful. So subscribe and follow, and I'd love to see you in person. And I'm so thankful that you're here, that you're watching. Don't forget to watch this and listen to it at least 4 times. And especially if something comes up that has you feeling anger, depression, anxiety, or worry, then listen back to this lesson. And I'm going to pass this around in case somebody wants to do something in person. That's great. I appreciate it. I really want those of you who see me as your teacher and you really would like to learn through me. I'm devoted, and I want to work with you, and I want to help you. And I want to let the Holy Spirit help you through me, the Holy Spirit. Because it's a lot going on in our perceived reality right now. And it's time for us to wake up. And for some of us, God is banging on our hood. You know, it's like, what is it going to take to get you guys to work, to wake up and really start to get sincere about some love and some unity and some oneness? Is there anybody else out there beside me that also wants tired of the divisiveness and the being asleep? It's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to wake up to who we really are and to really make a commitment to our spiritual awakening and growth. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know that. I'm looking around at people in the room and I'm getting insight from people getting in touch with me. But you all, we are in an emergency situation of needing to have peace instead of the stuff that we're going through. And we got to stop waiting for everybody else to be different. And then when everybody else changes, then everything's going to be okay. No. What did we hear today? We heard what? That peace, that's right, I can see peace instead of this, and that the peace of mind is an internal matter, and that it begins with our own thoughts. And it begins with our own thoughts. So take a breath. I can see peace instead of this. You can see peace in this situation. And you know the situation that I'm talking about. And you know the situation that I'm talking about. And you can see peace in this situation. And you know the situation that I'm talking about. You know the situation that I'm talking about. You can see peace in that situation instead of what you now see in that situation. You can see and feel peace in that relationship instead of what you're now feeling in that relationship. You can replace your feelings. You can replace your feelings. You can replace your feelings of depression. You can replace your feelings of depression. You can replace your feelings of anxiety. You can replace your feelings of anxiety. You can replace your feelings of worry. You can replace your feelings of worry. You can replace your thoughts about this situation. You can replace your queries about this situation with peace. You could feel peace instead of this. You could feel peace instead of that. You could feel peace. You could feel peace right now. No matter what the situation that you're going through right now, you could feel peace. You could feel peace instead of this. I could feel peace instead of this. I could feel peace instead of this. I could feel peace. I could see peace in this situation. I could see peace in this situation. Yes, yes. Repetition, 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 repetition. And remember, when you're listening to your friends and your relatives and people around you who do not know the truth yet, they have not done their own awakening enough to know that peace is an internal matter. Stop listening to these people. Stop believing what they're telling you. It's not the truth. Just because a lot of people believe something doesn't mean it's the truth. And if you're constantly feeding yourself disinformation by listening to people who believe that they are victims of everything and they've lost sight of the fact that peace comes from within and that they are creators and that they are powerful beings and that they are responsible for what they see and they're choosing the feelings they're having and they're setting the goals they would achieve and that everything that seems to happen they're asking for it and receiving it. They don't know that. Your friends and relatives might not know that. Your co-workers might not know that. But just because ignorance of the law is no excuse. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Just because a person doesn't recognize something doesn't mean it's not true. And you got to stay awake enough not to join into that thinking for your own protection of your peace, because I want you to be happy. I appreciate you, mighty companions. You're awesome. Watch this at least 4 times, please, and share it. Share it with people. I appreciate you so much.